And welcome back. It is Wednesday, and that means it is time for our plant and garden expert, Craig Sept, to answer your plant and garden questions through the WQAD Facebook Live. Let's kick it off with Jeannie. When is the best time to prune a flowering almond bush?
Flowering almond should be pruned shortly after it gets done blooming in the spring. It's an early spring bloomer, so if you prune it now, you're going to be cutting off a lot of the flowers. And then we have Gail who asked, can you start balloon flowers from seed and do I trim them back? What flowers?
Balloon. I swear I
did
pronounce that right.
Balloon flowers can be started from seed. I don't know how prolific. I've never used them in the garden. You would wait and plant the seed in the spring, but they can give you quite a beautiful display during the summer.
Lisa is wondering if you can deadhead mums, and if so, how?
Well, you can deadhead mums. And, you know, mums don't get all their blooms at one time. So when you get a few of those early blooms that are going over the hill, go out and just gently snip out the ones that are looking shabby. There will be more buds opening up until you get to full color, and you can always deadhead them. Do not cut them back until spring.
And then we have Becky. What is the best time to transplant a volunteer maple tree? It's about 2 to 3 feet tall.
Okay, I'd wait until spring at this point and be ready, get the new spot ready. Of course, get it out of the ground, back in the ground as soon as possible. Get your root stimulator on it. You know, mulch it real well. Maples are, it's a weed, kid. So it's going to come through just fine.
And then we have Rick who asked, when potting the lemongrass to bring it indoors for the winter, should I divide the large crowns now to multiply it, or should I wait until spring to do so?
Actually, I would go ahead and do my division now. You know, get pots that drain well, well-draining potting soil. Take your clumps from around the edge of the lemongrass. It's growing out in a circle. So if you take plugs from around the edge, go ahead. I would get it done so you can have them outside for another maybe a couple of 3 weeks before the weather really shuts down. And then remember, in the house, that plant has to have as much sun as you can possibly give it during the winter.
Okay. Donna, we answered the question about mums. I'm going to go to Ann saying, I have 2 clematis in pots. One did well, the other died back, but I still have one. How can I cover them for the winter?
Well, this is the problem with plants in pots. It is really difficult to get them through the winter. And that clematis you thought died back might have just gone dormant early. What is below ground level could still be alive, so I wouldn't give up on it. But what you're going to have to do is I would go to the north side of a building, I would dig a little depression, put the pots in the depression, and then bury the whole thing in cheapo hardwood mulch. The whole idea is that plants get frozen anyway in the ground, but they cannot take the freeze thaw. That's what polishes them off during the winter. Once they're frozen, keep them frozen.
Alrighty, and Terry asked, I have grapevines first, I'm going to assume that's year, first year of fruit production. How much and when should I trim them?
Okay, they should be trimmed shortly after the first year. Grapes bring their sap up very early. So you want to get this pruning done in late January or February, and you're going to take that fruiting wood that made grapes this year, and you're going to reduce it down to just 7 buds away from the main trunk. That means that every year you're getting rid of 3/4 or more of the entire plant. Because if you don't do that, it goes 15 feet the first year, 15 feet the next year. Pretty soon you're 30 to 40 feet away from the trunk. So it always gets pruned back to 7 buds from the main trunk.
All right. Well, and then we have Robert. I have a rose of Sharon that needs to be moved. When is the best time to move it? It's about 6 feet tall.
Whoa. On a plant that big, I'd wait until spring at this point. Go ahead and, when you do move it in the spring, and I'd wait until you see that first little bit of growth in the spring, you're going to want to move a lot of soil with it, as much as you can possibly take to the new location. And you're going to take that 6 foot tall Rose of Sharon, and it's only going to be about 1 foot 1.5 feet tall after you cut it back. You've got to prune the top back to take the pressure off the damaged roots when it gets transplanted.
Alrighty. And then we have Kirby who said, when should I prune a young autumn flame maple?
Autumn flame maple, again, we wait until about the first of the year to start this pruning. We have to let them go fully dormant. That way, if you do your pruning just after the first of the year, those cuts are going to have a chance to dry out and heal before the sap comes up in the spring. So don't wait too far into the winter to go ahead and get that pruning done.
Okay, Mary says, I have an 8-year Rose of Sharon. When can I dig it up and move it?
Again, in the spring. I would, again, we're getting pretty late in the fall now. There are certain plants that you should transplant now. That's your clematis, your roses, peonies. But a lot of this summer warm weather stuff, I would wait until spring when the new growth is just starting out.
And we're going to take a really quick short break, but when we get back, we'll answer more of your questions, so keep sending them in to our Facebook Live. We'll be right back.